This is NASCAR Coast to Coast. 60 minutes of NASCAR local and regional racing talk, interviews, and opinions. Here's Kyle, Rickey, and Buddy Long.
Rev Racing claims their first win of the year with a substitute driver at Virginia International Raceway. Bonsignore's roller coaster season hits another high at Riverhead, and late race restarts a Jason Hathaway to his second win of the season in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Tuesday, September 1st, 2015. Kyle, Rickey, joined by Buddy Long as we talk NASCAR weekly and regional racing. Once again this week, Buddy, we survived Canada, so I guess we're good to go for another year.
It was a big road course racing weekend for Xfinity and trucks, as well as the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East.
They were up at the Virginia International Raceway. Buddy Long and myself just back from the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, where we got to see the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series in action. We'll talk more about that race coming up in a bit, but want to jump right into our first guest because I believe he's on lunch break right now. Sergio Pena, the big winner this past weekend at the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race at VIR up in Virginia, and he joins us on the guest line now. Sergio, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, and congratulations on the win in just your third start of the year and your second race of the season in filling in for Jay Beasley here these last couple of weeks. It's been, I'm assuming, a wild last couple of weeks for you.
Oh, yeah, it has, and thanks for having me on, guys. It's great to be back talking with you. But, yeah, it definitely has. I had no idea I'd be racing the rest of this year after that first one that I ran down earlier this year in Daytona. And, just very thankful for the opportunity from Rev Racing. And, first of all, I just want to say thoughts and prayers for Jay. I hope he gets better soon and is able to hop back in the car.
Opportunity seems to be the key word for you with Jay's situation, which we'll allude to in just a few moments and kind of update everybody. But also opportunity in the race itself when you look at how everything kind of transpired for you with the issues that Austin Hill had late in the race, then eventually Dalton Sargent. Drivers that are back in third position typically don't have that much fortune to have two drivers of that caliber in front of them have issues. So things pretty much went your way, and a lot of good karma over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Luck has been on my side here the past couple of weeks, so that's been great. But, yeah, it was a very tough race, and there at the end especially was very, very intense. And basically all I could do was just try to put myself in a good position to pounce on those guys if they were going to slip up. And, after the red flag that had come out, I knew that everyone was going to be, basically on kill mode there, trying to get into that first position and win the race. But Don Sargent and Austin Hill there racing super hard and just fighting for a little bit too much, I guess, and it made a couple little mistakes, and I was able to be right there and take advantage and take the lead from him. And then after I took the lead, though, I had to hold off Kaz Grala, which was its own challenge in itself, and luckily I was able to hold him off.
Second week in a row, you guys have had to sit under the red flag. A couple of weeks ago up in New York, you had to sit under the red for like 2 hours on the back straightaway. And then here, I believe there were, two red flags late in the race at VIR. What goes through your mind? What do you do to occupy yourself during that downtime?
Yeah, red flags are always tough because, as a driver in the car, your adrenaline is rushing. You're so focused and concentrated while you're under green there, and you're just racing very hard. And then a red flag happens, and everything is stopped. Everything gets quiet, and that's a good time to try to plan out what you're going to do when you get back on green. And that's what I was doing while I was sitting there, just trying to think about what was going to happen here. VIR, long front straightaway there into that very tight first corner. Every restart, doesn't matter if it's the drop of the green on lap one or halfway through the race on a restart, everybody's trying to get as many positions there as possible. It's just a really good opportunity to pass. With the green-white checker situation, I knew that everyone was going to be driving in there really hard, and there's going to definitely be some contact. So I was able to go from fifth to second there on that first, after the green flag dropped on that first red flag. And then within that same lap, another red flag again. So it was kind of back to square one, and I was like, man, I had my chance to win the race there or at least finish second. Austin Hill, I was going to try to run him down there, but another red flag, went back to fifth, and was going to see if I could do the same thing again. I was hoping those guys wouldn't learn that they needed to back up their corner a little bit in order to make it through the first turn, but luckily enough, they all still kept on getting into each other, and I just held my line nice and smooth, stayed to the inside, and was able to get up to third place there again. So
Oh,
that was good.
You mentioned Kaz Gralla coming home second, a very good run for him. David Garbo Jr. had a good third-place run as a rookie. Your teammate, Colin Cabri, he came home in the fourth position, another Rev Racing driver. The other Rev Racing camp, Devin Amos, he came away with a finish a little bit further down in 17th. Kenzie Rustin a little bit further back as well in the event. But nonetheless, I mean, as it was illustrated, one time, at least in 6 years straight, a Rev Racing car has found its way to victory lane, no matter who it is or what racetrack it's been on. When you look at that statistic and you think, okay, well, it's a four-car operation, the odds should be pretty good that one of those cars is going to get into victory lane. Well, that's all fine and well, but then when you look at the level of competition with the H. Scott Motorsports multi-car teams, so many other drivers that are independents that do very well, that's a pretty amazing statistic that you guys can be able to do that.
Yeah, it's been really well. To able to have a statistic like that for Rev Racing shows a lot. First of all, I'm just very thankful for the opportunities that they've given me throughout the years. I know I've been all of my 5 wins in the K&N Series have come with Rev Racing. So those were in 2011, 2014, and then this one here in 2015. So it's been great, to be able to experience all those wins with different drivers and different crew chiefs is definitely a huge testament to that team and their dedication to the series. And just like you said, it's not easy to win a race. It doesn't matter if you're racing at a go-karting level or sprint cup. It's hard to win races because everyone is out there giving it 110%, just like you are. So, it's very hard to beat that. Like you said, H. Scott and Ben Kennedy's got an awesome team there too with Kaz Gralla. But even, Austin Hill's team and the Bassett's, everyone, all those teams are very tough to beat every single week. So to get a chance to win one of these races, there's not very many of them in a year. So, if you can say you've won just one of those races in the year is a huge, huge accomplishment.
Just 2 races to go in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, a little over a week away at the Richmond International Raceway, and then the season finale later this month in Dover. How difficult has it been for you not to be in the car every week? I've seen you at the racetrack quite a bit, but not necessarily in a driver's suit.
Yeah, it's very tough. This has been the longest break without racing for me since I was 7 years old. So it's been very tough. I got to be honest. There's nothing I would rather be doing than being in a car every single weekend. But unfortunately, this sport it's tough. It's hard to get a ride and hard to find sponsorship to do it. So you can just never give up. And pretty much on my lowest low in my racing career, without even being in a seat at all. This is only my 3rd race of the year, but it's just, God does awesome things when you think you're at your lowest of your low and then come out with a win so unexpectedly and in a car that I shouldn't even be driving. Like I said, Jay Beasley deserves to be in that car, and I hope he gets well very soon. But at the same time, if I'm given the opportunity, I'm just glad I was able to make the most of it.
And you absolutely have done that. But what has life been like for you? What is an average week, an average day for Sergio Pena? I mean, from week to week, I guess, from race weekend to race weekend, when you haven't been in the car. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so I just moved back home to Winchester, Virginia from Charlotte. Tough for me to be down there without a full-time ride. So I'm actually moved back to Winchester. I'm a driving instructor for a company called BSR. We train the military and government agents high-threat defensive driving before they get deployed, and we do all sorts of tactical things for private security companies, anything from shooting while driving to learning how to pit maneuver, all sorts of any high advanced security driving is what we do. So, like you said, I'm actually on lunch break right now, and I have a lot of fun with it. It keeps me in a car every day. It keeps my driving skills sharp, even though it's not racing. Still things, just like pushing the limits of the car and, staying comfortable with that and just driving all day long every day will keep you sharp. So it's been a great job for me, and I've been enjoying it a lot.
Any word on whether you'll be in the car at Richmond International Raceway the next time out in just over a week from now?
Yes, I will be in the car for Richmond. Unfortunately, Jay is not clear to return yet, so I'll be in the car at Richmond. Dover's still up in the air. We still got almost a month, actually just a month and a day until Dover, so we still got some time for Jay to heal up then. But as for Richmond, I will be in the car, so it'll be the same car that I actually won with at VIR, same car. So fit in there good, ready to roll. All I got to do is just hop in the car and go try to get another win for Rev. So I'm excited to get out to Richmond.
All right, well, we look forward to it as well. Best of luck to you next week at Richmond, and congratulations again on the win this past weekend at VIR.
Yeah, thank you guys, and once again, thank you to NASCAR and the Drive for Diversity program and Rev Racing for having me back in the car. I'm really thankful for those opportunities. So hopefully we can get some more wins.
And making the best of that opportunity is Sergio Pena. Hopefully, as Sergio mentioned, we get to see Jay back in the car here in the next, hopefully before the end of the season at Dover.
Yeah, because it seemed like he had been having a lot of very good runs.
Yeah.
He was kind of getting into a groove for the year in that ride before a misfortune struck for him. So hopefully he'll have that opportunity. But it's also kind of interesting because typically you don't hear too many times where a guy uses a road course car at a short track. Well, Richmond's somewhat of a short track. It's a 3/4-mile racetrack, but that's kind of an oddity, I should say, to hear that they make that transition. So that's pretty cool.
I think they have 4 full-time drivers and only 5 or 6 cars between them all. Maybe a few more. Maybe each driver has 2. I forgot what it was last year in talking to some of them. I think each driver has 2 cars, and that's it. So the car that he runs at VIR hopefully will do just as well at Richmond, and I have a feeling it will.
He was very accomplished in karting. He did a tremendous job. I heard him mention go-karting. He ran with us for a long time at WKA, and I mean, it's the best of the best, and he ran and did well, won many championships, and it just goes to show you, you just don't pop up into a ride just because you've got the great resume in karting. You still got to earn it. You have a great name for yourself. You built a great name for yourself, but there's still a lot of work to do, and it's constant. And he really is deserving of that. To have the opportunity in such a short period of time, get behind the wheel of the car and pick up the victory, that says a lot. So, the race fan in you says, okay, well, even when Jay gets better, we certainly hope they can find an opportunity for him. It's usually not that easy because obviously the dollars come into play, as they always do.
As they always do. You mentioned the top 5 a moment ago. Kaz Grala second, David Garbo third, Colin Cabry fourth, and J.J. Haley fifth. Point leader William Byron finished 10th, now has just a 15-point lead over Scott Heckert with 2 races remaining. The next event, as we talked about a little bit ago, at Richmond International Raceway in just over a week from now. So, good event for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series, though a wider point margin than I think we have anticipated. With all the other series so close, I think the other series here in the States, the West and the 2 modified tours, they're all within 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tight. Everything is pretty much single digit, and this is 15. It actually grew from 12 just a week ago or the previous race. But anything can happen. 15 doesn't still sound like a whole lot when you got 2 races like Richmond and Dover, 2 tracks where anything can happen at any time.
And big fields at both of those tracks. Understand Noah Gragson, and both Noah Gragson and Grayson Raz are coming over to run at least at Richmond in just over a week from now. So we'll see some K&N West Series invaders getting some track time.
And that's what I was thinking about when I was looking at the K&N West points. I know they didn't race over the weekend, but when they head to Phoenix, they're going to run into the same problem.
Yeah.
They're going to have some of the Eastern guys, and when you have Eggleston and Partridge right now tied, Noah Gragson 6 points back, somebody's going to be the fly in the ointment, and it's going to come from the East. Dalton Sargent's probably going to be out there. I'm not saying he is, but you're figuring there's going to be 2 or 3 that are probably going to make that trek out there and really try to make a name for themselves. They're going to be in front of all the Cup owners and all the big wigs in NASCAR racing, so that's what they want to do. So it's going to be interesting to watch that one.
Talked to somebody from NASCAR last night, or that's connected with NASCAR, and they told me they have 8 confirmed entries right now from K&N East drivers for that season finale in Phoenix.
Well, see, that shot my 2 or 3 right out the window. Double that, please.
Exactly. So a lot coming up for the NASCAR K&N Series, both on the East Coast and the West Coast, and we'll have more about that in the coming weeks. Later in the show, we're going to talk a lot about modified racing. Justin Bonsignore will join us. He won at Riverhead Raceway this past weekend. Jimmy Zacharias picked up his 9th feature win of the season at Chemung Speedrome and the track championship. And he's also running for that national championship in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. So a lot coming up here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, which is brought to you by STP. Celebrate Darlington Throwback Week, presented by STP. Be sure to try STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner. It helps remove power-robbing deposits to keep your engine running better longer. STP, in for the long haul.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable anytime, anywhere.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans are built with a U-shaped construction, so they give you more room where you need it. And their 4-way flex technology moves with you for all-day comfort.
In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Win the battle against rust and corrosion with PB Blaster Penetrating Catalyst or PB Blaster Silicone Lubricant. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up two 11-ounce cans for $8 and earn double O reward points on this purchase. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series driver Kenzie Ruston, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now it's back to Kyle and Buddy.
Another one of the Rev Racing drivers, Kenzie Ruston, in her first year with that team, third year in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, and unfortunately an incident took her out of contention this past weekend at VIR. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Kyle, Rickey, and Buddy Long with you, talking modified racing now. And since he won at Riverhead earlier this year, and we didn't have him on the show after the win, and he let us know, we figured we'd have him on after he won this time at the Riverhead Raceway this past Saturday night. His second win of the season, won the Riverhead 200. Justin Bonsignore joins us on the guest line. Justin, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast as a race winner.
It's good to be on. I had to bust you guys' chops a little bit down at Bristol, but I guess no better way to go out and win the race and make you guys have me back on, I guess, right?
Well, you got to kind of understand the method to our madness. It was win, I think. What was it? See, we've done the same thing to Priest and Kobe, so you're not alone, Justin. They won.
I guess that's good company to be in then.
And we dissed them. But, I think we were trying to promote you a little bit better because you'd gotten off to a rough start. It was one of the races, I forget which one it was, and
right
Justin
before he
was
won.
like second or third.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what, let's get Justin on. He needs some love. And we did that. And the very next week he won. It's like, okay, this might not look good having him on twice in a row. But you would have thought differently, wouldn't you?
I definitely would have.
Talk about your race on Saturday night. Riverhead, obviously a track that you are very comfortable with. You swept both races there this year. Bring us through the race on Saturday.
It was another typical Riverhead race. We were fortunate enough. We had a good car and qualified top three, and kind of just rode there for the first good portion of the race. There was a lot of early cautions, which you obviously come to expect at Riverhead, and we got to second there, and then the race kind of went into a 60 or I believe 70 lap run. And I think it went past halfway with that. And, Doug had gotten out to a pretty big lead, and I knew I wasn't going to catch him. So, and I also knew at some point there would most likely be a caution. So just kind of saved my tires and was doing what I had to do to maintain second. And on the lap 115 restart, just got a really good start. And Doug, fortunately for me, spun his tires a little bit, and I was able to clear him on the outside, which is not an easy task at Riverhead. But from there, we turned it up a little bit, and I had a good enough car to stay out in front of Doug. Doug had a really good race car, and we did what we had to do to win towards the end of the race. It got pretty hairy. He was definitely putting the pressure on me, but was able to withstand it and bring home a second win of the season. So it was a pretty exciting race, I felt. Stands are packed, so hopefully all the fans enjoyed it.
A lot of good energy coming up at Riverhead Raceway with the announcement of Ed Partridge buying the facility just a few weeks ago, and knowing that is going to be maintained as a race facility for many years to come, hopefully. And that's a great shot in the arm because that's your home track. Everybody's mentioned that. You've done a lot of racing, not only in the modified division there, but obviously you've got a lot of laps logged in karting as well. And I'm sure you were just tickled to death, even though you don't get a chance to run there weekly, but just to know that track is going to be there for many more years.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I've been going there since I was a little kid, all the way from go-karts through all the other divisions and up to the tour. So, there's been a lot of question over the years of whether, obviously the comedies were not getting any younger. You always wondered what they were going to do when they decided it was time to sell. And, they held out for a lot of years when they didn't really need to. They could have sold years ago and, retired and enjoyed the life, but they stuck it out and waited till the right offer from Eddie Partridge came about, and it worked out perfect, I believe, for both parties. Everybody seems happy, and it's really good for the racing community and all the fans and everybody that we still have one more racetrack on the island to go and enjoy our races at. And I think Eddie's going to put Eddie and Connie, and I think they're going to put a lot of money into improving things and making it more into this day and age, maybe get into the social media stuff and attract fans because, we all know how tough it is to get the attention of the younger generations these days. So hopefully things are definitely on the up, and the next few years there will be better than they have been.
Talked to us on the show a couple of weeks ago about maybe adding a third NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour date there next year. I'm sure you'll be one of the first drivers in line to help get that on the schedule.
Yeah, there was a few year stretch where I was, becoming, I thought, like a normal tour guy where I didn't want to go there at all. But I'll be quite all right with 3 races there now. We've seemed to gotten the package down for what I'm comfortable with the staff goes, and with Billy Michael, crew chief, in it. So they can add as many Riverhead shows as they want for right now. But you can only be on top of the hill at that place for so long, and it'll humble you real quick. So we'll take them as we can, and hopefully we can just have really good cars moving forward there like we've had.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when you said earlier you got in like a 60 or 70 lap stretch of green flag racing. That almost seems impossible to me in one sense with Riverhead. Now, I've not been there for a stock car or modified racing event. I've been there when the karts were there, and obviously the tire barriers are up on the outside retaining walls, so that tightens the track up that much more. But even when you take those tires away, that's a tight racetrack, so lap traffic has got to come to you guys, inside of 5 laps?
Yeah, dependent, especially on a tour night where there's 28 cars they start, and there was a lot of single car spins, but there wasn't too many cars eliminated. So, fortunately we do the double file starts. Definitely makes it a little bit better. You get a little bit more time before you get in that lap traffic. But, any extended green flag run, I think the last run was like a 25 or 30 lap run to the finish, and with about 15 to go, I could start to see, I had, maybe stretched my lead to maybe 1.5, maybe 2 car lengths on Doug, and kind of was trying to pace myself to not get into heavy lap traffic, and that allowed Doug to get back to my bumper, and he definitely applied the pressure. But it's a game of timing and patience at Riverhead, and lap traffic seems lately has been a little bit tougher than usual. Guys, it's their right. They don't want to go a lap down as much as anybody else, and they're doing whatever they can to hold that position. But it definitely gets hairy, that's for sure.
You mentioned social media a little bit ago. You and Doug kind of got on Twitter the last couple of days and jabbed at each other a little bit. Something happen on one of those late restarts?
Just good short track racing. Doing what I had to do made it a little wider than maybe Doug probably appreciated on some of the starts. But at the same time, he was doing what he needed to do to try and get a good jump on me. And as the leader, I control the start. So all in good fun on my end. I'm sure it is on his end too. We're pretty good friends off the racetrack. We talk every now and then. And I'm not getting into the wars like him and Rocco get into.
Right.
I don't have I'm not as witty as those guys to come back with good comments. So I'll just take my shots when I can, and it's all in good fun. Everybody says everybody's vanilla these days, but we try to have a little bit of fun with it.
You need that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's either been feast or famine. We talked about this earlier in this year, Justin. I know the season didn't go, and it hasn't to this point the way you wanted it to 100%. But to have gone through what you went through, to be outside the top 10 looking in, now 9th in points, 2 victories, and still 3 races to continue to move up that ladder, I've got to believe this team is just still at an all-time high. I mean, when you look at the fact that you've been down as far as you were in the cellar in the points, and Bristol didn't help by virtue of getting caught up in a major accident, that Doug Coby did as well. This team has got to still be pretty confident knowing that had some of these certain episodes not happened or you've been in the wrong place at the wrong time, you guys would be in a pretty darn good place.
Yeah, I mean, the races we have finished, we haven't finished worse than 8, aside from DNFs and mechanical failures and getting caught up in wrecks. But, we've run really good. We've probably been better than we were last year as far as speed-wise and maintaining our pace through the races. Just didn't have things go our way. And, they can, with a short schedule, when they get out of hand, it just magnifies it. So we've been out of the points for a while, but everybody's been keeping their head held high and trying to be positive. And Bristol is definitely, a kick, it put us down a little bit, but none of the guys really, they all kept their head up, and it was cool to come back to Riverhead with a great car, and to see everybody in victory lane as excited as we were, it definitely makes it worth it. It's not been the year we wanted, but we still got 2 wins. There's a lot of guys with long winless streaks on our series, and you take every one of them. They're all special, all important, and you never know when it's going to be your last. So we just take it week by week, and the rest of the season, we don't have wins I've won at Thompson, but New Hampshire and Stafford I've never won at. So to be able to maybe contend for a couple wins up there, the New Hampshire is always big to win at the fall final at Stafford would be huge, and the World Series is always a big one to put on your resume too. So if we can, just play spoiler and win some races the rest of the year, and that would be, a good consolation, and come out the gate strong next year and try and get back in that title contention form.
For those that didn't see it, the Bristol Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago, what happened from your seat? It was, the first lap or two of the event. You guys were barely up to speed yet.
Yeah, it was lap 3, and, I saw it. I really didn't know until I got home and watched the videos. It looks like Doug just got a little too free, and, if you didn't expect that, and Carl went around on him, and I think what really caused the biggest pileup for the whole pack was that Todd Zegedy was right on his bumper, and it kind of just blocked the whole racetrack so quick. I think if Doug was all by himself and did that, maybe it would have funneled him down to the apron quicker, and maybe not so many cars would have piled in. But, we were still early. We hadn't qualified, that great. But, honestly, it didn't really matter unless you were in the top 3. Not many cars got through that from that 3rd to 15th range. So, you're doing 120 through the corner there, and it's hard to get it woed up. I tried the best I could, try to shoot for a gap, and, it closes up quick. And, it's unfortunate, but we'll try again next year at Bristol. We've been really good there every year, and, it's getting a little frustrating, but, you can only keep trying.
Well, and the good thing is it was great to see so many members of the family, both for you, your family, and obviously your cousin Kyle, who had the opportunity to run a modified. Unfortunately, Kyle had some handling issues at Bristol as well, but we haven't had a chance to see him. Both of you guys ran karts many years ago. And even your brother, Matt, he's got some big involvement in the southern side of things, working with Georgie Brunholzel. The moms, dads, the aunts, uncles, everybody is there. It just shows what a strong family sport this is between yourself. You look at the Salomitos on the southern side. You look at the Myers. There's a lot of family tradition, and it's so good to see everybody at the races.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was the first time my cousin and I, Kyle, had raced probably since the go-kart days when we were traveling with the Nationals, I would say back in 03 or 04. So it's the first time we'd been on a track together like that, and it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, he actually qualified just as well and got caught up in the same wreck as me, and they decided to just to park it to avoid further damage. But it was great for all of the whole family to be at the racetrack. My other uncle, who's a part of a cup team, had the day off. He was able to come down and hang out with all of us. And, it was just cool. It was like old times again, and hopefully, I think they said the North-South Shootout will probably be the next time that they're going to run, so we'll be able to go to that together again, and hopefully they could start running some more races and have some more fun, because it was like old times, and those were the days when you were go-kart racing, traveling the country.
Couple of weeks until the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour gets back on track at New Hampshire, I believe 4 weeks from now. Will we see you behind a modified anywhere between now and then, say at Stafford or Riverhead?
We're working on getting back out there with the SK team with Art and Kenny Barry. I'm not sure if we'll get out before New Hampshire or not, but we will run that car. Otherwise, though, we're still fixing the car from Bristol. We kind of put that aside to get ready for Bristol for Riverhead this past weekend. So we got a little bit of work to do with that. So the M3 team will definitely be just regrouping and using this time off and get ready for that last stretch run. And we'll see if we can get back out there with the 21 car before the season ends as well.
Kind of going back to the social media comment that Kyle brought up, the dialogue between yourself and Doug Coby. Let's talk, and I know 2 or 3 years ago we were talking about the respect in this series. At one point, maybe 2 years ago, there was a little bit of lack of respect at the beginning of a season, but it seems like that has changed a little bit. You guys have grown up, obviously. I'm not saying you personally there was any issues there, but what a great points battle we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of consistency with a lot of these drivers. So many of them changed so many teams. We're looking at the youth of this program with Chase Dowling having a good top 5 run. He's the leading rookie contender. Anthony Nacella, another driver that's run some other series. He's starting to run the modifieds. It just looks like the overall respect and also the health of this Wheel and Modified program is in a very good place.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think the tour is definitely on the uprise right now. A lot of good young guys coming up. Chase Dowling proved that the other night. Comes to Riverhead only his second time and runs in the top 3. Probably could have won the race at certain points. It's definitely intense. The points right now is going to be it's going to kind of come down to last year. The first one to blink will probably lose. It's really close. Hopefully that goes down to the end. It's always nice, even though we're not part of the battle right now, it's always nice as a fan and to see the sport strive to have close points battles. And I'm sure that'll go down right to Thompson, and those guys have been very respectful of each other as well, even though they have had issues in other series. So it's definitely good. Anytime we can have nice positive things for the tour, it's always great to see. We all want to see the Torch drive, and I mean everybody's growing up as drivers, and there's definitely there's some weeks where you think people don't have any respect, but then on the other times, you couldn't ask for any more respect. So it's good racing right now. NASCAR's got a good rein on everything, to keeping everybody in check, and I think it's can only go better from here. The tour car counts have seemed to be solidly up. But you just always have the people that are the negative naysayers on the internet and always comparing things to the old days. But you just have to realize this isn't the old days anymore. And we just got to take what we have right now. And we can only, as drivers, we can only do the best as we can. We're not comparing ourselves to Rickey Evans or Charlie Chisambeck. We're just trying to be, the Doug Cobies and the Ryan Preeces and myself. We're just trying to be the best we can. So. You're always going to have the negative people, but hopefully the positives moving forward can continue to outweigh some of the things you do say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Justin. Love the modifieds. Can't wait to see you guys back on track in a couple of weeks when we get up to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Always a good show, no matter where you guys race, and a good crop of drivers right now in the thick of things that can win any given week. Thanks for joining us here on the show, and glad we could get you on after a race win, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you guys up at Loudon, and you guys have a good day. It's a pleasure being on.
Going to be fun, as always. Justin Bonsignore joining us, and they got 3 big races left. The New Hampshire races are always big. Everybody wants to win the fall final at Stafford, and, of course, the World Series of Speedway Racing. And he mentions the points. It doesn't get much tighter.
Yeah.
Ryan Preece leads the championship standings by 1 point over Woody Pitkat heading to New Hampshire on September 26th.
Yeah, and a year ago at that race, Justin was in the battle for the championship, and he had motor issues, I believe, that put him in the garage area. So the year didn't get any better for him this year, but they're on the upswing, and I still think in the next year or so, even next year, that's a heavy contender for that title.
Absolutely. One driver that has already won a championship this year in New York, won at the Chemung Speedrome Championship this past weekend, his 9th feature going along the way. Jimmy Zacharias, he will join us after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
The following is a message from ToyotaRacing.com. Toyota Racing is all about speed and precision, including this ad and our official site, ToyotaRacing.com, where you can find exclusive NASCAR content and videos, series information for our NHRA Off-Road, Toyota Pro, USAC, and motocross teams. Way too many details about all of our drivers, including Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth. Complete race results, a constant reminder that you'd rather be watching NASCAR right now. Cool as heck Toyota Racing t-shirts and keychains. Twitter updates, a way to connect with other race fans. Tons of photos of Toyota drivers and their crews in the winner's circle. What can I say? We like to win. Links to other Toyota websites, obviously. In-depth articles, and most importantly, a site to visit when you're pretending to be working but actually are daydreaming about the smell of burnt rubber. Come on, admit it, that's probably what you use it most for anyway, and we're happy with that, just as long as you keep cheering for Team Toyota. If you have any other questions, believe it or not, there's also a section for that at ToyotaRacing.com. Ooh, I'm dizzy. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Hey, this is NASCAR Canadian Tire Series driver LP Dumoulin, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
LP, part of a pretty good battle.
Almost
over the weekend.
won.
Wow. At the NASCAR
Yes.
Canadian Tire Series race at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park over the weekend. An incredible battle there, those last 12 laps and 2 restarts.
They know we're coming. They always do that when they know we're coming. So, yeah, Jeff Lapsevich, great run for him. It looked at many times, opportunities for him to be in victory lane. Alex Tagliani had a shot at it. Several did.
Jason Hathaway ended up picking up the win, his 2nd of the season. LP was 2nd, Jeff Lapsevich 3rd, DJ Kennington 4th. Scott Steckley finished 7th and now holds a 9-point lead over Hathaway heading to their season finale in 2 weeks on September 19th at the Kawartha Speedway. Again, it's going to come down to the final lap, as it always does, north of the border.
Well, it just didn't seem right to be a 12-point gap,
right?
or double-digit gap going to the final race. So, Alex, And we didn't see Alex Nagy over the weekend. I'm sorry we didn't.
He let us know on Twitter.
Yeah, he did. But, no surprise, single digits, final race coming up.
All right, one driver that has already wrapped up a championship joins us now and is very much a factor in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series championship standings. Jimmy Zacharias, it's been a great season for him at not one, but 2 racetracks over in New York, and he joins us now. Jimmy, congratulations on yet another championship at the Chemung Speedrome and also your 9th feature win of the season to wrap up 2015 at that racetrack.
Yeah, thank you.
Got to be excited about the weekend and the year that was. 9 feature wins and a track championship. Kind of walk us through your season and just how difficult the competition at Chemung is.
It's been real difficult. This is probably the strongest competition we've had in the last 6 years, and we didn't let it get the best of us. We had to do some more work than we're used to on my car. Before, we didn't have too many competitors show up and have a chance of putting pressure on us, and this year we did, with my brother winning 4 races this year and beat me out some, and a couple other guys showed up and be strong contenders and made me work for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Darrell Lewis Jr., Gene Sharpstein, Connor Sellers, some of the drivers, some of the many. And it seemed like one of the final races, I guess this last one, the car count was really impressive. It's been good all season long, but what was it that brought these guys out and gals for this particular event? Anything in particular?
Yeah, people are starting to come to Chemung more now that the Race of Champions moved from the Oswego Speedway to Chemung, so they started coming to get more practice in before the big race. A lot of them haven't really ran there and have much experience, so they were just trying to get some seat time and get their cars dialed in before the big race.
26 starters, a season high. Took the green flag this past weekend at Chemung Speedrome. A lot of them, as he mentioned, preparing for that Race of Champions event. You beat your brother in the championship standings by 156 points, TJ finishing in second. Is it any different racing against your brother for the title versus another race team?
We probably raced each other harder for bragging rights. It would have been a lot closer. He had an incident there halfway through the year where he had to end up having surgery on his wrist. He got in a heat race accident, snapped 3 bones in his wrist and had surgery. So the rest of the year, he drove one-handed basically, and it gave me a little bit of advantage over him.
And you guys are one of the tandem pairs of brothers or people that are in the family or keep it in the family as far as racing at Chemung. But another interesting deal, moving over to Holland Motorsports Complex, you're running against Tommy Catalano, who looks like he's got the championship wrapped up there. You won over there this past weekend, but Tommy's got his mom that he's got to race against because Amy won the championship over there a season ago. So, number one, I mean, it's probably one of the first times I've seen a mother and son race against each other out there. But do you give him any ribbon or anybody in the pits give him ribbon when his mom beats him over there at Holland?
Yeah, everybody gives him a little bit of crap about it. We always pick on him, and there are actually a couple of fans thought it was his sister for a while, and he didn't want to tell anybody it was his mom.
Second in points right now over at Holland. Catalano right there as the championship point leader. You got a 100-lap event coming up this week at Holland Speedway. We know the competition's been tough at Chemung, and a track that we talk about on a regular basis here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. How are things been this year at the Holland Speedway?
They've been real good. I started out the beginning of the year a little more focused there than I had been. This is my first season actually going for wins in the championship, but circumstances played out where I actually missed the race, and it cost me the championship. It would have been a lot closer going into last week's double points night for me and Tommy, but he made every event and I missed one, so that kind of hurt me. And the championship wasn't really what I was there for. I was there for more of the national and state point, a little bit more for me to help me out, and it seemed to work great. I got 4 wins this year, and I got 9 at Chemung, so a total of 13 there for the Whelen All-American Series standings, so that helps out a lot. And we're going into the 100-lapper here with a head of steam. We've won the last 2 races convincingly over everybody, and we got a real good car under us now.
And speaking of the state points, which is another battle within the Whelen All-American Series for the state of New York, you've got a pretty substantial lead, it appears, over Matt Shepard, who has had a very good season on the dirt modified side, running up at Utica Rome. Very diverse group. Tom Rogers Jr. from Riverhead Raceway, he's up in the standings. Your brother TJ is up there in the top 5, as well as Nick Haywood, another young driver from Airborne Park Speedway that run the dirt style type modifieds on the asphalt. But another great battle that you guys have had this year, and very important to win that New York State Championship.
Yeah, it was a lot closer there at the beginning of the year when the dirt got started because they had a lot of cars, and Utica Rome kind of slipped a little bit. They've been averaging 15 to 16 cars, so he hasn't been getting full car counts. And that's one thing that helped me at Chemung was the full car counts and winning 9 out of the 15 races, 9 out of, I don't know, 15 or 16 races we had there. And my worst finish there was a wreck, and other than that, when I finished was a second place. So it's hard to beat that, finishing first and second every week.
Much like Ryan Preece and Keith Rocco and Lee Pulliam, you run multiple tracks a week and found yourself up there in the national championship standings. Right now, you're currently 5th, just 26 points behind Thomas Tillison Jr. with 3 weekends to go, and both of your tracks, still are in competition. Do you point race? Do you look at these standings, the New York standings that Buddy was talking about, the track standings, and the national standings from the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series?
I do, but I wish I didn't. It gets a little nerve-wracking and puts a little more pressure on. We had 2 more full-point wins that actually would have put us in the top 2 right now for the national, but we got taken out on a greenway checker, and that kind of put a damper on the whole national thing, and that would have gave us a shot at winning it. But that really wasn't our goal this year. We set out to run for the track championship at Chemung and then see what we could do for the state, and everything just played in our favor for the state with all the wins and second place finishes with full fields. And whatever happens. If we finish top 3, that's a big accomplishment, and that's more than what we set out to do. So it's just a consolation prize now.
No, it was rather interesting because I think for the longest time, Kyle and I saw, Lee Pulliam up there, Ryan Preece, Keith Rocco, the usual suspects that we've seen in the past, and a few other new faces. We know that Teddy Christopher's done well. You've done well in the standings also. And then here came Thomas Tillison just slowly creeping up through there. And we got him on a few weeks ago. We know that Thomas is pretty much dormant this weekend. Both of his racetracks do not have events that feature the class that he runs. Then you snuck up in there. And what the tough nut to crack is, I got to believe for you, is everybody is still winning every weekend between yourself, Tillison, Rocco, Pulliam. You're averaging a couple of victories a weekend, and it comes down, obviously, I would say, to car count in those classes and how many races you have left.
Yeah, that's one thing that helped me a little bit was the beginning of the year with all the full fields when Pulliam fell, their car counts dropped, and Rocco's dropped at Stafford and Thompson. Waterford's been good to him. The one thing that's helping the dirt guy there, Thomas, is all the full fields every week. And, it's good to see another dirt driver up there and diversity in the NASCAR program, and I'm sure they're loving that, and it helps them. And it's just, I don't know. We were 17th or so when it was first mentioned about me moving up, and there was some doubt about it, but I knew if we just kept winning, we'd be up there. And then we actually, going into last week, we knew we were in good shape, and then the points come out on Tuesday, and everybody else won too, so it kind of didn't really affect us. We just got more points, and everybody stayed the same. And this week too, it would have been a good week for me, but Rocco gained some more, and then the kid from Canada, Taylor, there, dropped a 2-point race and got another win for that. And Rocco or Pulliam won at South Boston, I think, and gained more points. So it's a tight battle, and everybody just keeps gaining right now.
Yeah, I think Jimmy answered your question. I think he follows points.
How many more events do you have left? Is Chemung done for the season? I know their points races are done, I think, for the most part, with you clinching the championship. But are there any events left that can go toward the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series standings?
Yeah, this is where it's going to hurt me in the national. These guys all have probably 7-8 races left to go, and I only got 2 for NASCAR at my 2 tracks. Chemung actually has 1 more points race, and it was good this year. I clinched the title 2 weeks ago. Actually, I didn't even know it, and they didn't tell me. And now it's just going for wins. The championship's already wrapped up, so that just makes it a little bit easier to do what we have to do to go for wins. And we have 1 race there, and we have a 100-lapper there Saturday at Holland. The championship was over last week, so this is just national points for us.
And you have just kicked some royal tail over the years. Every year for many years, when you look at the Northeast standings of, I go through the pages of Every Auto Racing News and look at the leading feature winners, and you look at a Ryan Preece and a Keith Rocco that are always up there in the asphalt mods. Your name always pops up there. You guys, you and your team have collected a ton of victories over the course of many years. How does this year stack up amongst most of the others that you have? Is this one of the best ones you've had yet?
It's probably rated right up there. It's hard to top my 2012 season when I won 27 modified features in one year. This one, it means a little more. There's more on the line there with the national stuff, and getting another state championship is something that's going to make this a year to remember. And even finishing top 5 in the nation, I mean, that's a big accomplishment for a small town New York team who really was never on the radar till the last probably 5 weeks here.
Absolutely, and it's been fun to watch you climb up through those standings the last couple of months and eventually pick up that championship at Chemung, I guess 2 weeks ago, but officially this past weekend. Jimmy, thanks for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, as always, and we look forward to talking to you soon and maybe seeing you at the season-ending banquets down here in Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
All right, Jimmy Zacharias joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Again, one of those drivers that quietly made his way up the standings. Didn't make a whole lot of noise like the Pulliams and the Priestes and the Christophers, but there he is right now, 5th in points, just 26 back.
Just like the Holden kid. Is it Taylor?
Taylor Holden.
Yeah.
Taylor, is it Holden? Holdaway.
Holdaway? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I looked at it, it's like, where did that individual come from? I mean, we were so focused up top, and, Tillotson, as I mentioned a few moments ago, snuck up through there. Next thing you know, I think you talked to me one day, so guess what? Tillotson's up top in the points. It's like, oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I mean, again, I love this because you look at those top 10, it's 2 new tracks or fairly new tracks to the NASCAR realm. I mentioned this a few weeks ago that Tillotson is running. Yep. 2 tracks that we haven't had in our mainstream. Flint Creek is new to NASCAR. Selena Highbanks has been around for a couple of years, I think.
Yep.
But then you look at some of those other drivers. Holdaway, did I get it right?
Oh, yes.
1 track,
One
Sunset
track.
Speedway. Craig Von Doren, or is it Dwayne Howard? Is Dwayne up there from Grandview Speedway?
Yeah, Dwayne.
1 track, but it's good car counts, and they're very successful. And that's what I love to see. Some of these dirt tracks, because there's a heck of a lot more asphalt facilities than there are dirt, and just showing their muscle just as much as the asphalt facilities.
And we should mention Taylor Holdaway, Sunset Speedway, that's in Canada.
Yes.
So this is the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series International standings because he is the championship leader there by 29 points over Jason Whitty. They got 4 weeks of racing to go up there at Sunset Speedway. So good fields, obviously good car counts every week, and he is able to capitalize on maximum points whenever he can get the victory lane. Lee Pulliam 3rd in points right now, 20 out of the lead. Keith Rocco is 4th in points, 21 points out of the lead. And then Jimmy Zacharias, 26 points out of the lead. So it's close there up at the front of the field.
It'll be interesting, as we mentioned. I mean, Tillotson still has races left, but he's off this weekend. He doesn't have, both tracks are not running the A-mod, so it'll be cool to see what the other ones do if they're successful with good fields, if they can win, and if they can tighten it up. I mean, Tillotson still has a chance to pull back away with the races he has left, but he could tighten up after this weekend.
We'll see what happens. 3 weekends remain in the NASCAR Wheelin' All-American Series standings. A lot of racetracks around the country beginning to get toward the end of their season and crown champions. We'll tell you more about that in a moment, but first, let's take a moment, get to know some of the stars of NASCAR's regional series a bit closer as we go off the wall. Justin Bonsignore, if you could go back in time and witness one historical event, could be anything, doesn't have to be involved in motorsports, what event would that be?
Maybe like one of the world wars. That'd be kind of interesting to kind of stand back and maybe watch from a distance, not to really all up in the front line, but it would probably be pretty interesting.
Nick Drake, favorite all-time movie?
When I was a kid, I liked the movie Bolt about the little superhero dog. So I don't know. There's a lot of good movies nowadays, but as far as like a movie series goes, it'd be the Fast and Furious movies. I've grown up watching that, and the last one was pretty good, so it'd be up there.
Tim Brown, what's your favorite reality television show?
Wow, my favorite. Building Alaska. I love watching that. Those guys are that's pretty impressive.
So if you had a break in your racing and could go audition for a reality TV show, what show would you like to be a part of?
I'm trying to think. I like the Building Alaska probably would be, because I love to go to Canada deer hunting. I like that kind of element, so probably Building Alaska would be pretty cool.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Pick up Splash RV and Marine Antifreeze 2 for $8 and earn double points. It's ready to use and provides burst protection to minus 50 degrees so you can be prepared for the cold weather ahead. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Dale Jr. here. I wear Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans for any occasion. With new styles and great fits, you'll look good and feel comfortable anytime, anywhere.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans are built with a U-shaped construction, so they give you more room where you need it. And their four-way flex technology moves with you for all-day comfort.
In the garage or out and about, Wrangler knows the ins and outs of comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
This is NASCAR Whelen All-American Series driver Natalie Decker, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Natalie. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Kyle, Rickey, Buddy Long with you. We've talked about the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East and their close championship battle, the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. Well, it doesn't get much closer. Chris Eggleston, Ryan Partridge tied for the championship series point lead with Noah Gragson just 6 points back. 3 races to go into Meridian this weekend.
Another new track for them. It's been around for a while, but yeah, the Napa Auto Parts Idaho 208. I like that.
208?
Yeah.
I like that too.
Unless that was a misprint, but I kind of like that. But yeah, what a great battle coming right down to the wire.
The NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour, they were off last week. Their next event at the Langley Speedway this Saturday, Jason Myers, well, he leads the championship standings by an incredible 2 points over brother Burt Myers. Andy Seiss 4 points out in third. Kyle Ebersol fourth in points, 9 out of the lead. They have what, 3?
Got a handful.
3 to go, maybe 4 to go.
Oh, we got Langley, Hickory, Charlotte.
South Boston in there?
I'm not sure if it could be. I can't remember. We should know that.
We should. But they got 3 or 4 races to go.
It's in my book over there. I just don't have that in front of me right now. Hey, one track or one series that we haven't talked about lately, that's the NASCAR Mexico Series. Erwin Vences, another rookie, picked up his 3rd victory of the season in the Puebla 240. Homero Richards, Ruben Ravello, Rogelio Lopez, and Jose Luis Ramirez were the top 5. Erwin right now leads Ruben Ravello by 24 points. In a couple of weekends, it's the Potosina 200. And I'm hoping they still have their chase. They have a half a dozen or so races left to go, so that should be a good one coming down to the wire as well.
Now, we mentioned the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Jason Hathaway picking up the win and closing that championship point lead over Scott Steckley, now down to just 9 points going into their season finale in 2 weeks at Kawartha Speedway on September 19th. News from NASCAR Whelen All-American Series racetracks coming up after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
The road to victory lane isn't just for drivers anymore. Introducing the official daily fantasy game of NASCAR at DraftKings.com, America's favorite daily fantasy sports site. Just pick a team of 5 drivers and stay under the salary cap. Outscore your opponents and win. Hurry to DraftKings.com now and use promo code COAST to play for free. You could win part of the $1 billion in prizes being awarded this year. Enter COAST to play for free now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Sure, going fast is impressive, but performing over the long haul is even more impressive. And for that, there's STP. Each bottle of STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner in your tank helps remove power-robbing deposits to restore performance and keep your engine running better longer. Because greatness isn't just measured in seconds. True greatness is measured in years. STP, in for the long haul.
This is NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver Woody Pickett, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Woody, of course, one of those drivers in a very tight point battle, except at the Thompson International Speedway up in Connecticut. I think that's the largest gap as far as the Connecticut tracks are concerned. Keith Rocco won both of last Wednesday's Sunoco Modified races, holding off Woody Pitkat and Ryan Preece. Pitkat has a 14-point lead over Rocco. One race to go. That's the World Series on October 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Hickory Motor Speedway winding their season down. Dexter Knipe Jr. taking the win over the weekend, beating Shane Lee and Matt Piercy. This weekend, the Bobby Isaac Memorial. Yep. That's a Paramount Kia Challenge race, but there's 2 points races left, and Landon Huffman leads Matt Piercy by 2 points, one of many tight points battles.
Including Kalamazoo Speedway in Michigan. They were rained out last week. Championship night set for this Saturday. Mark Shook has a 9-point lead over Mike Bubba Brooks in the Outlaw Super Late Model Division.
Kingsport Speedway, Lee Pulliam finally picked up a victory there. He's been trying for many years, besting Cress Van Dyke and Chad Fincham. Ronnie McCarty, who was 12th in the event, turns out to be your 2015 champion.
Iowa at the Adams County Speedway in Corning, Iowa. They were also rained out. Jesse Dennis has a solid 58-point lead over Jeff Wiggins. Their championship night set for this Saturday.
You talk about ties in the National Series. There's a tie at Southern National Motorsports Park. Jonathan Finley takes both late model races. He and Andrew Grady are tied with the season finale coming up September the 12th.
The Monadnock Speedway, Scott McMichael won the Sportsman Modified feature. Chris Curtis won in Super Stocks. Their points really tight. Bill Kimball leads in the modified standings by just 16 over McMichael. They have 3 points nights remaining, including this Saturday night.
Lonesome Pine Speedway in Coburn, Virginia, twin late model stock car races. It was Adam Gray and Lance Gatlin taking the victories. Now, here's what I can't understand. Unless I missed something, Cress Van Dyke had a 44-point lead coming into the event and did not appear at Lonesome Pine over the weekend. So by virtue of that, Wayne Hale leads Greg Bohannon by 3 points. Van Dyke, who was a no-show,
slipped to third,
is now 7 points back, unless I missed something. So he still has an opportunity with a couple races to go to get the championship, but that just seemed a little odd to me.
I don't know. I didn't do that math.
Hopefully all is well in Van Dyke Lane.
Riverhead Raceway, of course, their local modifieds were off this week. Tom Rogers Jr. Leads their local standings over Kyle Soper by 42 points. 3 weeks remaining, including this Saturday night, which will feature the National Demolition Derby Championships.
We mentioned Airborne Park Speedway earlier today. Leon Gagnon taking the victory over Jimmy Baker and Jason Durgan. Championship night coming up this Saturday. Nick Haywood leads Bucko Branham by 52 tallies.
Irwindale Speedway, Trevor Huddleston and Tony McRae split the twin late model wins this past weekend. Huddleston is the point leader by 46 over McRae. Heading into their next event, they have 3 weeks of racing left, and including a 3-race weekend. One on Friday night and then a double feature on Saturday night.
Columbus Motor Speedway, there's been a shakeup there. Bobby Justin taking the late model win. Chad Pendleton came into the night second in points. He finished fifth in the race. Kyle Jones, who was the point leader, finished 14th. So as they have their Labor Day Championship this weekend, Pendleton now leads Jones by 10 points, so that's another tight one going.
Have you mentioned Lebanon I-44 yet?
I have not.
All right, well then Cole Williams won their late model feature over the weekend over last week's winner, Caleb Allison. Ricky Eisenhower won the modified feature. J.C. Newell has a fairly substantial point lead over Tim Swearigan in the modified standings. They have 3 races to go.
Did you mention Devil's Bowl?
No.
Okay. Vince Quenville, Cody Oben, they were the winners in the dual modified races. Ron Proctor with a 2-point lead over Vince Quenville with 2 events left to go.
And at Tucson Speedway in Arizona, Alex Flores won in the Pro Stocks. David Levitt won in late models. The Super Late Models, their premier division, they were off last week. Their next event is set for September 12th out there in the desert.
Championship night at Lee USA Speedway in New Hampshire coming up this Friday. Thomas Tombarello Jr. leads the Super Mods. Jimmy Russell and Jay Sands are tied in late models, so that should be a good one Friday night.
A lot of championship nights this weekend, and a lot of champions will be crowned, and we'll be talking to many of them here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Another fun hour in the books.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Want to thank Sergio Pena, Justin Bonsignore, and Jimmy Zacharias for joining us. For Robbie Mays and Craig Moore and Buddy Long, I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you back here next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network.
You've been listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Tune in next Wednesday at 1 Eastern for more talk from local tracks all over America. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.